Here with the Digital Digest, and today I wanted to share a quick update on my experience with the Insta360 Go 3. Now, this is the 64 gig model. It retails for $400 US, and it's been on the market literally a little over a day now, roughly 2 days. And we're heading into the holiday weekend here in the US, and I just wanted to be able to answer, in my opinion, this most simple question you could possibly have about the Go 3, which is it worth the money? And right now, at least, as cool as it is playing with this device, having the display, the added battery life, 2.7K res as opposed to the 1440p of the previous generation, having less overheating issues, and again, just having more of an action cam experience with it, I still can't really make an argument for the Go 3 at $400. Yes, Insta360 has great software, AI. I'm a big fan. Anyone who follows my channel knows that these are two of my favorite cameras right now. Granted, they're 360 cameras, not action cameras, although the X3 is a little bit of both, still fragile. I also have my 1R 1-inch edition, which is not coming into frame right now. But the one thing I wish Insta would have done in this launch was learn from the Action 2. Now, the Action 2 at launch at over $500 US was pretty much a disaster, which is why this camera has been discontinued, unfortunately. It's modular to a degree, just like the Go 3. It has the ability to record on its own using the camera module. So just like the Go 3, you have to release it though, which I wasn't doing. It has the ability to record on its own. And that's a great feature, something I think that anybody who's looking at these saying, I want the smallest possible action camera on earth, well, these are your two realistic options. But, you know, I've already explained where video tops out on the Insta. I do think the software is better that Insta is going to offer from a camera use perspective, and it's nice that we now have the ability to actually see ourselves, both recording with it in the pod as well as wirelessly. You know, as I take this away, I can still see what the camera's filming, but it's Bluetooth, the transmission. Once you get to about 10 feet or so, it's going to break up one way or another. So as cool as this feature is, it's really, you know, just something that probably should have been there to begin with. So I don't see adding this as being a brilliant concept. I think had they done more than just give us more battery life with this, this would have been brilliant, meaning had we unlocked 4K and, you know, something else that really we couldn't anticipate. Because when we look at something like the Action 2, again, a year plus old, built-in display on the back, so exactly what this is missing, right, out of the box. And then in addition to that, 4K 120. You heard right, 4K 120. So yes, it gets hot. Yes, it's imperfect, just like the Go 3. But we're talking about the ability, if you desire to shoot like what I perceive as being excellent quality when compared to the best quality that this has to offer. This is hands down much better. Then, and you know, presuming that you're going to shoot short form content with either of these to begin with, it's very difficult right now, initially, to make any sort of argument for the Go 3 at $400. I mean, DJI made the mistake of pricing this over $500 at launch, and they paid the price. And now it can be had for a little over or under $200 US. And really, where I'm going with this is that the Go 3 is incredibly cool. They did not reinvent this camera. They added features by doing something that's less inventive than usual with Insta, which is just giving it a house. The Egg now has, you know, essentially a carton to pop into, kind of like a little baby monitor. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I don't want anyone to misunderstand this. I love Insta360. I don't have a relationship with them, but I love their products. But this one, I can't, you know, if this didn't exist, I'd be telling you that this is amazing. But because this does, it is far less interesting to me, at least. And look, there are some of you that are going to say you far prefer the Go 3 for a wide variety of reasons. But, you know, ultimately, there's not a huge amount of weight difference between these two. Insta essentially copied the magnetic functionality of the Action 2. That's something that, you know, the previous generations of the Go did not have, the magnetic mounting system. It's smart. It works. Water resistance issues, you know, when you use the display part of this for the Action 2, You do gain, of course, more battery life as well as a micro SD card slot, which is huge. But this is not water resistant. So it becomes a half-assed action camera when paired. But on its own, it really is an action camera. However, it's limited to its internal storage, which is going to get you a little over 20 minutes of 4K footage. Of course, 4K 30 is the sweet spot here. Here, 1440p may still be the sweet spot. Of course, you can film in 2.7K, and that's missing. But, it's not. It's because I have the wrong orientation there. But that's pretty much the story with at least initial impressions between these two cameras. And I would be remiss not to talk about the Action 2 because I literally did not cover it over a year ago when it launched because of its price point and just thinking this really is not going to be that popular. Very cool product, but too expensive and too niche to really have wide adoption. This thing is trying to live in the I'm cuter, so buy me phase, I feel like, or area, not phase. And I'm not seeing that right now with what we've got here. Because it isn't that much different than the previous generation of Go product. It just got bigger, basically. And it gained some features, like I said, battery life, bump in resolution, better low light quality, still has some water resistance, but still a lot to be desired at $400 US. I think if this was $100 less, it would still be a tough comparison, but at least if you preferred this aesthetic, this design to this, because you don't have wireless transmission on this, so that's something that absolutely goes to the Go 3. That would have been great for the next generation of Action, if there was a next generation, instead of it just being the new Osmo, the regular Action cam. But that's not the direction we went. So a lot to like about both of these, but again, that price gap, this is less than half, or at least half of what this costs. That's a tough pill to swallow, in my opinion, for what is, essentially less, but maybe prettier packaging with better software. No question, Insta has the better software, in my opinion. Again, I love Insta360 products. It doesn't mean every single product they make is going to be excellent. And the last thing I want to point out is also that in spite of the fact that, again, neither of these are perfect, something that I did feel was a little bit of a red flag was just how hard Insta360 leaned into their marketing campaign for the Go 3. I mean, literally every YouTuber on earth did a paid review of this product. So I'm not saying it's a red flag because I'm in the same business, right? I'm here on YouTube. I cater to my audience. I try to always put content on, sponsored or not, that of course, I am going to be honest representing. And I think everybody strives to do that in a perfect world. But when I see Insta lean so hard into this, I can't help but feel, they're trying to sell this everywhere, and I get that. But considering it's not that different than, it seems to be in many ways inferior to the Action 2, and then only slightly better than the Go 2, which is, of course, much less expensive now. It's just... I'm just putting that out there for everyone just to be aware of. This is really cool, but I also kind of feel like marketing at its finest. Or worst, you decide. But that pretty much wraps up this update. Really cool camera. You definitely can do things with it you can't do with the Action 2. I'm just struggling to find how it really beats it, especially, again, with that huge premium, which you're really going to be paying for Insta360's software experience. But let me know what all of you think. I'm curious if you're using it, how you like it. Did you previously own this? Because this was a mess at launch. I think now it's a much more well-rounded product. Still has its issues, no question, and limitations, but that is the nature of short-form, micro action cams, if you will. And, again, closing thought, had Insta really turned this into a dock that dynamically changed the product rather than a few superficial touches that really corrected the inherent issues that the camera already had, this would be a very different video. Any questions or comments, please feel free to post them at that like button. And as usual, please feel free to subscribe and please stay safe. Later.